What is up, everybody? Welcome to some Yahenni Undying Partisan. Yeah, this is nothing too crazy with Yahenni. I didn't go full Voltron and I didn't go full like sack outlet. I almost went aristocrats, but I have like 400 aristocrat decks on my channel, so I opted not to go aristocrats with the Yahenni. But yeah, this is just a kind of a nice little mid-rangey value. Just kill a lot of stuff and. Yeah, I've been pretty happy with the deck. It's a little bit more of a straightforward deck, and nothing too crazy with it, but it's a lot of fun. But let's jump into the deck tech. So one of the main things that we're looking to utilize with Yahenni is the destruction aspect. Or actually, let me start with Yahenni first. So Yahenni has haste. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1 counter on Yahenni. Then you may sacrifice, as an activated ability, sacrifice another creature. Yahenni gains indestructible until end of a turn. So kind of what we're looking to do is get down Yahenni, maybe get a few board wipes out there, and get Yahenni into a spot to where we can swing in and kind of get some commander damage through. We're not, actually, excuse me one sec. We're not going like full Voltron where we have a bunch of equipment we're putting on her, but we're just looking to take advantage of a bunch of board wipes. So one of the things that we do have is, let's see, we're running like the standard board wipes in here. Let me see, I didn't even separate them. We're just running stuff like Damnation. We're also running Toxic Deluge. We're running Wretch Confluence. Just a lot of stuff to just kind of clear the board so we can get in with Yahenni. The way we're approaching this deck with Yahenni is in a way that let's kind of get a bunch of value stuff up. Let's kind of control the board, and then if we can close it out with Yahenni commander damage, sure. If not, then we can just kind of go beat sticks with a lot of our value creatures. But yeah, so we're destroying a lot of stuff. One of the things that we have a lot of spells in here that will take advantage of us destroying creatures. So we're running stuff like Spoils of the Blood. Instant speed, create 1 black mana, create an XX black horror creature token where X is the number of creatures that die this turn. Now, if our opponent's not getting a lot of creatures out, it's not that good, but let's say we're playing against elves or something that's really aggressive and has, 5 or 6 creatures out there, and we have 3 or 4, we may end up with a indestructible Yahenni that's anywhere from a 5/5, 6/6, 7/7, and then we have like an 8/8 horror creature to kind of swing in and do a little bit of cleanup if we can get our opponent's life total down. So I didn't get to fire it off, but it's just 1 black mana, just get whatever creature in there. It's not that bad. We're also running stuff like Reanimate, put target creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield. Once again, taking advantage of the destruction. Demon of Dark Scheme, so it'll get into the battlefield, destroy all those creatures, and then for 2 colorless and a black, pay 4 energy. Put target creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. And then whenever another creature dies, you get 1 energy. So and then if we're sacking creatures to Yahenni or we're blowing up our opponent's board, we're going to get that energy, and we can start bringing stuff over to our side. We're also running the Whispering one. Our opponent's going to have to sacrifice a creature at the beginning of their upkeep, so that's going to go towards a counter towards Yahenni. And then at the beginning of our upkeep, we get to return a creature from the battlefield to the graveyard. And so it's kind of a nice way for us to deploy some of our earlier creatures. Let's say we blow something up, then we get down the Whispering one to do a little bit of cleanup. Then we can start bringing some of our value creatures back. We're also running Deathbringer Regent. Whenever it enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand and there are 5 or more creatures on the battlefield, destroy all other creatures. It's a little bit limited in that, that 5 creature, because it's almost when you're getting down Deathbringer Regent, you want to make sure you can sacrifice a creature for Yahenni to give Yahenni indestructible, and then get this down to have a 5/6 kind of beat stick in the air. So it's a little situational, but it's still a good enough card to where you can have a 5/6 flyer, clear the board, and then get a nice amount of counters onto Yahenni. And it may be just enough for you to kind of close it out with the commander damage, or like a 5/5 Yahenni and then a 5/6 swinging in. That's enough right there. Also running Overseer of the Damned, so whenever it enters the battlefield, you may destroy target creature, which will be a counter for Yahenni. And then whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, we're going to get a tap 2/2 blank zombie. So kind of take advantage of the board wipes. Overseer of the Damned. We're also running Chainer in there. It's just a nice little kind of value spell in there. Nightmare creatures get +1/+1, then 3 black, pay 3 life. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. And then whenever it leaves, exiles all nightmares. So another way for us to, if we clear the board out, we can start bringing some other creatures out. So we did the destruction. We've got capitalizing on the destruction. We have a very small Yahenni support package in here. One of the and this Blade of the Blood Chief is good enough to go in basically any Yahenni deck. It doesn't matter if you're going Voltron, if you're going Sacrifice Outlet with Blood Artist or something like that. It's just too good not to run in a Yahenni deck. So basically it costs 1, you can equip it for 1, and then it says whenever a creature dies, put a +1 counter on equipped creature. And then if that creature is a vampire, put 2 +1 counters on there. Yahenni is an Aetherborn vampire, so it's just basically it's just if you're building Yahenni, it's Yahenni and then Blade of the Blood Chief. It's just a really nice value spell to have in there. And kind of a reoccurring sack outlet. We have blood gas, so we can get it down, and then whenever we make the landfall trigger will bring blood gas back from the graveyard onto the battlefield. So it's a nice way for us to kind of get a cheap sack outlet, not sack outlet, but sacrifice fodder to give Yahenni indestructible, so we can kind of start pushing through that commander damage. We're also running Reassembling Skeleton. Once again, it's just for 2 mana. We can bring it back. Let's say we milled it into the graveyard somehow, or we're just kind of flip it into the graveyard. We can bring it back for 2 and just have that nice repeatable sack outlet. Kind of a little bit, and then we're also running Wormcoil Engine. Wormcoil Engine's almost more of like a value creature, but at the same time, if you sacrifice it to Yahenni, you're going to get 2 tokens for your trouble, which you can still in later turn sack and then have a Death Touch and Lifelinker right there. So Wormcoil's a little bit of a value spell, but it also fits into that sacrifice element to where we're going to be able to take advantage of it. I know during one of my games, I got down Wormcoil Engine, sacked it to Yahenni, and then we had the Necropolis Regent, and so whenever our worm tokens dealt damage, they turned into 6/6s, so it's almost like they kind of replicated themselves. So pretty good value spell right there, or value creature right there. So we got Destruction, Capitalize on Death, the Yahenni support package. Alright, so we're also running a bunch of value creatures. So we're running stuff like Grave Titan. This is stuff that we're looking to get down to help us just kind of shift the game over to our side. Grave Titan enters the battlefield, 2 black zombie tokens. Good sack outlet for Yahenni to sacrifice those to get indestructible. Obnixilis, once again, if we're destroying a bunch of our opponent's creatures, we're going to get a +1 counter on Yahenni. On Obnixilis, it's going to have trample, and then whenever an opponent searches his or her library, that player sacrifices a creature and loses 10 life. So it's pretty nice in the deck in that if Yahenni gets blown away, we can start putting more counters on Obnixilis, and that flying trample really will matter in matchups to where we're not having like a little Birds of Paradise just chump block all day. So we're also running Massacre Worm. Creatures your opponents control get -2/-2. It's not going to hit Yahenni, and then whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, they're going to lose 2 lives. So it's kind of a nice way to kind of just blank out our opponent's little creatures on the ground, and we kind of swing in with Yahenni. We're also running the Unhallowed, so whenever a human deals damage, you destroy it, and then other non-human creatures you control have +1/+1 and have Undying. So we get into spots where maybe we don't have a sack outlet for Yahenni or something we want to sacrifice. It'll give it Undying. It'll come back. We're not going to get the counters and everything else dies, but it's a good way to kind of give it take advantage of those counters on there. We're also running Necropolis Regent, so let's say we're going Beat Sticks. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put that many +1 counters on it. And it's only 6 mana, and we have a lot of ways to ramp. We're running stuff like Extraplanetary Lens, Worn Power Stone, Cabal Coffers. So generating a lot of black mana is pretty easy with this deck. So getting the Regent down, a couple turns earlier is not that far-fetched, and like I hit on earlier, I turned my Wormcoil Engine tokens into some nice 6/6s with the Regent, so that was pretty nice having that one in there. Did the value creatures, and also we're running some nice little kind of off-the-wall value spells in this deck. So we're running Rise of the Dark Realms. Once again, this kind of fits in with the destruction thing for destroying everything. We get to bring everything back. I did get to fire this card off, so it always feels good firing Rise of the Dark Realms off. But yeah, once again, it's just kind of like most people don't usually expect it, but since we're blowing everything up, it's a really good spell in this deck because it can bring everything back to us. We're also running Withering Boon, pay 3 life, counter target creature spell. I did catch somebody off guard with it. It's kind of like running Mana Tithe in a white deck. It's just kind of, and it also kind of fits in like the tempo play of the deck in that, let's say our opponent's banking on getting down a turn 5 commander, we only have 2 mana up, we can kind of counter that creature spell and then kind of go a little bit beat sticks with Yahenni, so that's always good. We're also running Treacherous Urge. So target opponent reveals his or her hand. You may put a creature card from it onto the battlefield under your control. That creature gains haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So it does one thing. Let's say that we don't have a creature that we want to sacrifice. We get in a quick little like Lana War Elves or something for our opponent, and we need to give Yahenni indestructible. We can sacrifice that creature, or if it's a nice value creature our opponent's holding on to it, we can kind of swing in with it and really take advantage of it. So pretty fun spell. We're also running a Moonlight Bargain. Look at the top 5 cards of your library for each card, put it in your graveyard or pay 2 life. It's a really good way for us to dig deep because one of the things that we're doing with this deck is we're also running Erebos in here. Erebos, God of the Dead. But one thing that we're doing is we're paying a lot of life to draw a lot of cards to just dig deep into our deck to really get a lot of good value spells that we're looking for, or to find a tutor for a certain situational thing. And Moonlight Bargain definitely helps. We're also running Exquisite Blood, so we can actually be pretty aggressive with the Moonlight Bargain if we have that out. And we're also running Necrologia. Cast only during your end step. Pay, as an additional cost to cast it, pay X live, draw X cards. There's been numerous, couple games, I think 2 of the games when I'm playing Yahenni, I ended up casting this for anywhere from 10 to 15 life, getting all those cards, chunking the rest in the graveyard. And I think at one point we drew a bunch of cards, and you can, if you have Rise of the Dark Realms in your hand or you hit it, then you can kind of chunk a lot of stuff. And you can be really aggressive with this card, especially playing Yahenni, because we have so many board wipes. You can get into spots where you draw 15 cards, you hit Cavil Coffers, you hit a lot of your mana rocks, and you hit like a Rise of the Dark Realms. Then you have to discard those cards because it's your end step, so you're getting down to your best 7. So it's a really good card for the deck in that, let's say we're going to go some type of Reanimator stuff. We kind of bring it back, but yeah, that's kind of the deck in a nutshell. I definitely enjoyed it. It's a little bit more of a traditional commander deck. Like, I feel like I could take this into a multiplayer setting and kind of hold my own for a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of board wipes in here, a lot of removal, but I feel it's a pretty balanced commander deck. There's not really nothing too tricky to the deck, but yeah, that's it, guys. I've got about 4 gameplay videos for you, and if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.